Okay, so go ahead.
So, like, I had this thought. You said the military did things to help. And I say that they are property of the U.S. government.
Sure. And there's some
It's that,
truth to both those things.
it's that thing, what we going to do when that U.S. government turns them on us? You remember General Mathis, one of his reasons for resigning was like, we don't turn our U.S. government, our U.S. military on our own people and he said, for any reason. So what are we going to do when they turn against us?
Well, you've got a lot of veterans who have a lot of respect for Mathis.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Probably follow him.
When I first saw that guy, I was
bad went down.
Yeah, I was like, oh, if this goes bad, because this dude, he is a natural born killer. He is for real.
Amen.
He is not messing around. If you see him, things have gotten bad.
Knife hands. That's right.
And it was so when I say
You call him Saint Mattis.
yeah, but when I see the humanity in him, even though he sees the stuff of people that don't look like him, if he can even agree with the plight of people that don't look like him, I mean, he's probably in the upper echelon of government military official. And he says, hey, we don't do, this is not what we do. If this man ain't 100% U.S. patriotism, I don't know who is. And he says, no, we don't put our military on our people for no reason.
There's a lot of people in the military that agree with him.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's why it has to be a heart change, not just because you're maneuvering or somebody told you to do this or you think it's right. Because I believe it's going to come to a day where they are going to do it. And like when they had all these riots and stuff, and I was literally praying, Jesus, do not let one of these people pick up a gun and shoot back at this National Guard. I don't care who it is, black, white, I don't care. Just don't let a civilian pick up a gun and shoot back, because that gives them all they need.
The same thoughts, yeah.
And I was just sitting there cringing, like when they were throwing, the bottle bombs and all this stuff, and I was like, God, don't let it happen, because the second it happened is now the second everybody in the United States got to make a decision. And I did not want that at all. I don't care who it is. I don't care who did it. But if they shot back at that National Guard or military or whatever, we would be in a completely different space.
It's scary to think what could possibly happen, honestly. Okay, all right. I want to talk about this Monopoly lady.
Yes.
So you sent me the video of the lady who basically described life as a game of Monopoly.
Yeah.
Where, Time
out. One day we got to get 2 more people and we're going to play Monopoly with real money.
Okay.
Real money.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you got this lady who describes, and she's very passionate, and I can see in her demeanor and everything that she really feels this, and she's hurt by this situation, right? But from her perspective, she sees that, this game of life is basically, the board is wiped every generation from the black people, and the white people just get to take
whatever
they want, and then get to come to the board and say, okay, let's play this game, and obviously they're starting from different points, right?
As a whole.
And on an emotional level, I certainly feel for her, and I think, man, she's obviously really hurting, right? And there's a reason.
It was difficult to watch.
There's a reason that she's hurting. There's some real reasons why she's hurting. But at the same time, she's picking up this stance that I have to find a reason for my hurt, and I have to label it, and I'm going to call it white people in general. And she's then almost doing what a lot of white people would call reverse racism, and saying,
time out. Yeah. You cannot have racism without power.
Okay.
No power, no racism. You can be discriminatory all you want. You could be, a gloomy Gus, whatever, but there's not racism. Racism comes with power. When you can make rules, when you can take your personal opinion about somebody and make rules or laws
let's change the word. Let's call it prejudice.
Go.
Okay. So she has a prejudice on white people because she thinks that white people as a race have done this to her, right? At the same time, though, while she's attributing those negative things that some white people have done to all white people, she's also ignoring the fact that some white people have done some very good things, like stop slavery.
They're giving their life for
it. So how can you say it's all their fault, all the bad things are their fault, but I'm not going to give them credit for any of the good things that some people in their race, in their history have done.
If a man gives $1 million to CASA, one of our neighborhood charities,
Sure.
great. We find out that same man has molested four boys.
Yeah, but that's that man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If some white man gives $1 million to
Yeah,
CASA,
that's what
and
I'm saying.
some other white man molests
Yeah.
4 boys, are we
It's
going to
more-
say that guy's not good because that guy did something bad?
No, but what I'm saying is, if we're gonna use that idea, what she's saying is, since we got here, we have not had a seat at the table.
You got a lot of seats in Congress now.
The establishment of this country was the Declaration
I'm
of
agreeing
Independence.
with you. You're right.
No, I'm
From the
saying,
start, it was a raw deal.
It was raw
It was a
deal,
raw
and
deal.
it's been raw. I mean, we have bits. It's like the one blue Skittle in the bag. It's, you got 10 people on your side, and you fighting against 100. It's incremental. It's not enough to make a difference. It's not enough to make a difference. And yet we have, and even our, and that's that whole thing. Even in our release out of slavery, it came with all of our effort
Yeah.
and some white people. But even then, there was white people that was like, yeah, no, keep them in slavery. Like there was white people that were against civil rights. Like, I don't agree.
Well, we've discussed this. There were the top 20%.
Yeah, and I'm like,
said keep them in slavery, but
yeah, and I'm like, that was the thing. That was the thing. It's not enough of us to ever make a real difference. Even us getting out of slavery, it took white people. It took white people and the fight of their money to get us out of slavery. People like, and I love it when white people won't say, well, we ended slavery. You ended slavery because of money. You didn't end slavery because of us, because they were slaves in the North too. They were growing cotton too. They were doing textiles too. It wasn't because you had a moral heart change and said, this is wrong. It was really that money. Because you go to the weigh station and your 100 bales gets you $100 from the South, and his 100 bales get him $100, but from the North, he's got to pay his people. And when he gets finished
you
paying,
said they were slaves though.
in the North they had more free people than that. All the Southern work was done by slaves.
Uh-huh.
But they had them too. It wasn't just the South. But we had the
You're
South.
saying metaphorically or literally slaves, like
I'm talking about literally.
they were property in the North. I don't
Yeah.
think that's necessarily correct.
Yeah, look it up. The South wasn't the only one, but the majority of it was here.
Okay.
Because their first inlet, that's beside the point. The same people who said that, let's go. But anyway.
Well, you're saying, you're saying those people. I mean,
I'm saying that slavery was not ended because it was a heart change. It was a money thing, flat out. Because you can get $100 in the North, but you got to pay your people. And now you come home with 50. He doesn't have to pay his people. He come home with all of it. It's not fair.
I guess what I'm trying to say though is that I think that we should call out blame where it's due, but we should also give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Because when you only say here's the blame and now we're going to attribute the blame to everybody.
To everybody. Not fair.
You're not making, well, not only that, you're certainly not making allies.
No.
So how is that really helping your position?
It's not. It's not. But, okay, you're right. It's not helping your position. But the thing...
And so on an emotional level, back to the Monopoly lady, I understand I don't understand, but I can sympathize with her emotion in that, right? I just think on a logical level, I don't think that she's going to get to where she deserves to be.
Like that.
In using that tactic.
No,
you know?
It's not. Somehow we have to have a way to harness our emotion. Because an emotional argument will never defeat a logical argument.
Well, depends on the room you're talking to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
The logic should
But I'm
always
saying
win.
that's the thing. I'm like, it's this huge pat on the back, and I'm like, the majority of it didn't care about what happened to us. It was money. And the only way we can level the playing field is to get rid of slavery. And yes, we are a benefactor of that, but it was not a heart
I
change.
see what you're saying about the majority in that time.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today.
Yeah.
Are the majority of white people racist or prejudiced?
Ignorant.
Okay. Are they racist or prejudiced? The majority, 51% or more.
51% or more. Well, I say, yeah.
Okay.
But it comes out of ignorance. We make assumptions about people and we hold to them, and you know as well as I do, the older you get, the harder it is to change those assumptions. You have to have something life-changing for you to change those assumptions about people. I'm 42 years old, and I got stuff that I, chisel at. I mean, I literally have to chisel at this stuff to change it.
Right.
Because of the assumption, because of our past experience. That one kid that got beat up by the black kid in the 6th grade, and now they all like that. You were in the 6th grade. But I mean, we all fall into that category. But I don't think it's out of malice. I think it's out of ignorance because you don't know. And then I've gotten a conversation with white guys, and they like, I'm the bridge. Like, Hal, can I ask you this? Sure. Well, why is this and why is that? And I'm like, this guy just doesn't know. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's trying to be me, he just doesn't know. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Let me tell you. One guy asked me, why are they so fast?
Why is what so fast?
Why are black men like athletes so fast? Like, how do they run, a 4 flat 40?
I mean, maybe he's looking at statistics of the number of black people in the NFL.
But I mean, all of our stuff goes back to racism. I mean, it goes back to slavery. You bred the best to the best. I bred American Bulldogs. Do you think I wasted my time with the scrawnies?
Ones?
I bred the biggest, strongest to the biggest and the strong. And guess what I got? Mm-hmm. The biggest and the strongest. I'm like, that's 600 years of captive breeding. That's why they like that. And then you got a breed stock, what they call original stock, breed stock. And now you get all these progenies off this incredible breed stock that you done put together. That's why they like that. That's why they're in the 9th grade and they look like grown men. You did it. Not us.
I didn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying, you did it. I mean, you caused your own.
Yeah.
You didn't put them out in the field like, y'all, have fun.
Another phrase that comes to mind is passing the buck. When I really think down to what that Monopoly lady is saying, she's really, when you extrapolate and you put the blame on everybody with none of the benefits of the things that some of those people did that were good, you're kind of passing the buck to some degree.
You are.
And I can see why, especially if you've been in a low socioeconomic, low education environment, which is just the reality. And I can see how that would be an easy place to go. But I don't think that that's going to be fruitful for her.
And I think it's going. I really, because I'm an optimist on this, I think it's going to end because, like, now, I'm the generation before, but anything we live in a place now that information, technology, they can't hold it. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times of stuff that I wanted to know the answer to, and I didn't have the resources to find the answer when I wanted it. But now, it's at my fingertips.
Right.
I can find the answer. It's not a book I can't read. There's not an article I can't go through. There's nothing. It's right there at my fingertips. So, even if you try to stop me, even if you try to stop them, you can't. Just because technology has opened the door so much.
I think that's a great thing.
I do too, and I'm like, now this generation has, I ain't gonna say not has an excuse, but you have a better footing. You have a way better footing than any other generation before you because they can't hold you. They can't hold you to the point that you
can go on YouTube and figure out how to do almost anything. When we first met, I had just bought a 100-year-old house. Yeah. And I learned on YouTube how to level that house. And then we had a conversation about your house.
Yeah.
And I taught you what I learned on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then you leveled your house.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that 15 years ago even.
I would have to find somebody to teach me.
Or you just have to pay a house level.
Yeah. I would have to do. It would have been a lot harder. But now I literally was under my house with my iPad.
Sweat equity.
Yeah, and put the sweat equity in. It's like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay. But yeah, but now this generation has so many more advantages to like. They can't stop you because we talk about a lot of all this stuff, but the bottom line is it's the almighty dollar. And that dollar changes your situation in life. That dollar gets you better health care. That dollar gets you better education. That dollar gives you better homes. That dollar gives you a future.
It gives you choices.
That dollar gives you choices for real.
Yeah.
And now we're in a better footing to do it. Everybody has. I think now the playing field, because of technology, the playing field is going to be extremely level because the things that were kept captive and in secret are now everywhere and they're at everybody's disposal.